Millionaire yells at Black Waitress. She replies with one move that shocks everyone. The diner buzzed with quiet chatter and the soft clatter of cutlery. It was a bitterly cold Tuesday morning in Manhattan, the kind that made tempers short and patience even shorter. The coffee machine hissed. Pancakes sizzled on the griddle, and in the middle of it all stood Rhea, a 27-year-old black waitress with sharp eyes, a composed face, and a backbone built from hardship. Wearing her crisp white uniform and with her hair neatly tied back, she moved through the crowded diner with practiced ease. She didn't smile much. Life hadn't offered her many reasons to, but she was always respectful, always professional. At booth 9, however, the mood was already turning. A white man in a sleek navy suit, his Rolex flashing beneath his cuff, slammed his coffee cup onto the table. "Excuse me," he snapped. "Is this sludge supposed to be coffee?" Rhea took a quiet breath before turning to him. "Good morning, sir. Would you like a fresh cup?" He sneered. "A fresh cup? What I want is someone competent enough to do the job properly." A few heads turned. Forks paused midair. But Rhea didn't flinch. She'd heard worse in her time. Racism wasn't new to her. It came in many forms, including the polished and entitled kind that walked into this diner with expensive watches and louder voices. Still, she gave a small nod. "I'll bring you another one, sir." But he wasn't done. "No, you know what I want?" he said, standing now, his voice rising. "I want to know how a place like this ends up hiring people like you." The diner fell into complete silence. Even the kitchen noises seemed to still. Rhea remained standing, her hands clasped tightly behind her back, fingernails pressing into her skin. "You people always think the world owes you something," he spat. "That a uniform makes you part of society, but you're just a waitress. Probably can't even spell customer service. My dog has more discipline." A few people gasped. One elderly woman dropped her fork. A man in a flannel shirt started to rise, but Rhea, still not turning, raised a hand calmly. Then she turned to face the man fully, eyes steady, voice clear. "Sir," she said evenly, "I'm going to ask you politely to sit down and allow me to do my job." "See," he let out a sharp, cruel laugh. "Oh, really? What now? You going to call your manager?" he sneered. "I own people like you. Always have." That was it. Raina didn't think. Her body moved on instinct, faster than thought. In one smooth, controlled motion, she stepped back, pivoted, and swung her leg high. Crack. The heel of her black sneaker connected hard with his chin. His head snapped back. He staggered, lost balance, crashed into the booth behind him, and slumped into the seat, dazed, stunned, humiliated. The diner erupted. Gasps broke out. A fork clattered to the floor. A waitress screamed. Someone in the back shouted, "Call security." But no one moved. Raina stood there, breathing hard. Her hands trembled now, but her eyes were steady, burning with quiet fire. "You don't own anyone," she said, voice sharp, deliberate, cutting through the silence like glass. "Not anymore." Blood dripped from the corner of his mouth where he'd bitten his lip. He blinked, confused, searching the room. Sure someone would step in, defend him, support the outraged white man who'd been struck by a waitress. No one did. Instead, applause began. Faint at first, from the far corner, then louder, another clap, then another. And suddenly, half the diner was on its feet, clapping. A few whistles. Someone muttered, "About damn time." Raina turned, walked calmly back to the counter, her heart thundering like a drum. She could feel the stares, the cameras. She caught the red blink of a phone recording from a nearby booth. She didn't know what would come next. She'd probably lose her job. Maybe face charges. But for the first time in a long, long time, she could breathe. Behind her, the man staggered to his feet, clutching his jaw, fury twisting his features. "You're done," he shouted hoarsely. "You hear me? I'm Vincent Tarot. You'll never work in this city again." Raina turned back just once. "I've already worked 3 jobs just to survive," she said calmly. "I don't care if I never pour another cup of coffee. But no one gets to humiliate me and walk away." Suddenly, the diner door swung open. In walked a tall woman in a navy coat and heels, her expression tense, worry etched into her pale face. "Vincent," she called out, scanning the room. "What on earth happened?" He pointed at Raina, still clutching his jaw, his voice sputtering with outrage. She attacked me." The woman blinked, looked at Raina, then glanced around at the silent crowd of customers, all of whom were glaring, not at the waitress, but at him. "Attacked," she repeated, her voice calm but cold. "I just got 5 texts from clients saying you were shouting racist slurs at a waitress." Vincent went stiff, the room filled with hushed whispers. The tension could have been cut with a butter knife. Vincent Tarot, still nursing his bruised ego and jaw, turned to face the woman now standing at his side. Vanessa, his executive assistant. In corporate circles, Vanessa was known for her poise, intelligence, and ruthless efficiency. Her sudden appearance caught everyone off guard. "I asked what happened," she repeated, more firmly now. Vincent squared his shoulders, trying to regain control. "She assaulted me, Vanessa, in public. Call legal. We're pressing charges." Vanessa didn't flinch. "No, we're not," she said flatly, pulling out her phone. She tapped the screen and turned it toward him. A video played, a live stream from a teenager's phone, capturing everything, from Vincent's first insult, to Raina's calm, measured responses, to the breaking point, the slap of the heel, the silence, the applause. "This has 2.3 million views in 20 minutes, Vanessa said quietly, her voice clipped. "Do you know what the comments say?" Vincent's lips parted, but nothing came out. "They're calling you a racist, an abuser," she continued. "If this spirals, your sponsors will vanish. Your board, who already barely tolerates you, they'll vote you out without blinking." He looked around the diner. Every pair of eyes was on him, phones recording, a waitress frozen mid-pour. Even the cook had come out from the kitchen. "I was provoked," he muttered weakly. Vanessa didn't blink. "No, you were exposed." She turned to Raina, still standing, fists clenched at her sides, chest rising and falling with every breath. She was shaking, but she hadn't backed down. Vanessa stepped forward, voice softening. "I'm sorry for what happened to you. On behalf of the company, I'd like to speak with you privately, if you're open to it." Raina's throat tightened. She tried to speak, then paused. For the first time since that man's hateful words, she felt something new. She felt seen. "I'm not looking for money," she said quietly. "I'm just tired of being treated like I'm disposable." Vanessa nodded once. "And you shouldn't be." Then, to everyone's shock, Vanessa turned to the crowd and spoke, not just to them, but to the moment. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said, "this is no longer just about what happened today. It's about what we allow to happen every day." She paused, scanning the room, then looked directly at Vincent. "Vincent Tarot will be stepping down from his company effective immediately." "You can't do that," Vincent gasped, stunned. "You don't have the power." "I do," Vanessa said firmly. "The board appointed me interim CEO 2 weeks ago. They were already monitoring your behavior. You just gave them the final proof they needed." The diner fell silent, completely still. Vincent staggered, his confidence collapsing. All this Because of a waitress? Vanessa turned to Raina, then back to him. Not just a waitress, a woman who stood up when no one else did. Raina's knees felt weak. She gripped the counter for balance. It was all too much, too surreal. She'd come in expecting another long shift of pouring coffee and biting her tongue. Now she stood in the center of something she never imagined. Raina, Vanessa said gently, you don't have to keep working here. You deserve better. I'd like to offer you a role in our company, Human Resources and Community Outreach. Raina blinked. Is this pity? No, Vanessa said. It's purpose. We need people like you. Raina's eyes welled up. I don't even have a college degree. Vanessa smiled. Doesn't matter. You have something better. Integrity. Vincent turned and stormed out of the diner, muttering curses, his empire crumbling behind him. And Raina, still in her white uniform, a faint coffee stain on her apron, stood tall. For the first time in years, her shoulders weren't weighed down. They were lifted by pride. The diner erupted in applause again, but this time it wasn't for a kick. It was for her character. Months later, Raina sat in a bright office overlooking the New York skyline. A nameplate on her desk read, Director of Community Equity Outreach. She still visited the old diner now and then, not to work, but to remember where she came from. And every time a new waitress walked in, eyes nervous, steps quiet, unsure of her worth, Raina would smile and say, Stand tall. You're worth more than you think. Because the woman who once swallowed insults just to survive was now writing policies to protect others from the same. And it all began with one bold move. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and inspiring tales. Drop a comment below and let us know, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing your stories too. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.